Welcome to another Magic the Gathering Arena video. Temur Flash is the deck that I'll be playing today, which is not necessarily your Temur Flash of the previous set. It is actually more a mixture between Temur Reclamation and the Temur Flash deck that was going around. So it's taking best of both worlds and combining those into one. It's doing that because Temur Reclamation by itself seems to be falling behind a little bit right now. It's still very powerful and it's still very successful if played well and with good matchups. But there's a lot of different versions out. This one takes a little bit more of a flash approach. So it deals a little bit more with instant cast on your opponent's turn type stuff. Now, you say flash, is that a good idea with Teferi? That's why we run 4 Mystical Disputes in our main board, in hopes that we can avoid Teferi. Now, our deck is still really solid without Mystical Dispute and without flash, so I'll go over kind of what the deck does and what the idea behind it is. So, like most Temur Flash decks, prior it has like your typical combo here, your adventure combo, Brazen Borrower and Bonecrusher Giant, just to have a turn 2 spell that interacts, followed by a good creature. Now this flashes in, this is just a hard cast, but Bonecrusher Giant is just too good to pass up. Running 2 Uros, I'm still kind of debating whether or not I want to run 2 or 3, again, I don't run Growth Spiral in this list, so I'm not as focused on that because I have my turn 2 plays. I have a turn 1 play against some blue lists. So I have some plays there, and I really want to play Keruga for my card draw instead of Growth Spiral early on. So this is not necessarily about ramping early, I'm interacting early. Nightpack Ambusher, run 4 copies, and Frilled Mystic 4 copies, so this is really your Flash package. You see this in Simic Flash, you see this in Temur Flash. This is just a really solid Flash. So Frilled Mystic, yes, it's 4 mana. A 4 mana counter is not fantastic. But if I can stay in the game and interact and keep Teferi off the board, Frilled Mystic becomes very good. Being able to counter and put a 3/2 body on the board is a great way to kind of tempo our opponent. So this is really our tempo package, followed by Wilderness Reclamation, just a great way to ensure we have mana up, regardless of if we play stuff during our main phase. Then we have Shark Typhoon, again, just a really solid card. This is if we have to deal with it, Teferi, we have to get him off the board. We cycle, put a Flying Shark on the board, and hit him with it. We'll probably never really hardcast the Shark Typhoon. The 6-mana enchantment is just not really worth it. And then we have 3 copies of Expansion Explosion. So because we're more of a Flash-oriented deck and not necessarily the Temur Reclamation deck that wants to just explode our opponent, we only run 3 copies because that's just really all we need. We are going to be hitting our opponent quite a bit with these creatures. So we're not dependent on just this. And then we've got our land package here. So again, we run almost all the shocks here. We run 1 less Stomping Ground so that we can run all our Ketriomes or our Fabled Passages. And as you can see, we run 27 lands. So again, Temur Reclamation tends to run 28, 29. We really only run 27 because, again, we only run the 2 Uros. We will not be fetching a lot of extra lands. We will slowly be curving into what we need. Again, if we have 4 mana open for Wilderness Reclamation, most of our stuff can already happen. So we'll be in pretty decent shape there. So that's really the plan of this deck. It is a early interaction into late finisher deck. And looking at the sideboard, we got our Flame Sweeps to deal with all the little critters. This is really good against any kind of Winota deck. It is really good against cycling decks. I run 3 copies of Ionize just to have some more counters in. And again, I chose Ionize over Neutralize or Sinister Sabotage because I feel that the 2 extra damage adds to the pace. So I want to add pressure in this deck. That's what it's about. Klothys, 2 copies just to deal with some pesky graveyard stuff. Plus, again, it adds pressure by exiling cards out of the graveyard and 2 damage. Also, it can help me ramp if I need to. Another Uro, so if I'm in a little bit of a slower game and I feel I can ramp more or need to ramp more, Uro will come in. Shifting Ceratops to deal with any kind of pesky blue stuff. And I decided to put in 2 Voracious Greatsharks as well, just for some more flash effect in case I go up against bigger creatures. Flashing in a Voracious Greatshark, so I have a 5/4 body to swing with, just seems good. So we're going to go ahead and give this deck a try. I think it could be fun. Again, I'm still trying to determine what to play for Red Bull Untapped. Right now, I'm really thinking about my Sultai midrange list because it just has a lot to it that can be good. Oh, there we go. Jump into a best of 3 match here. So, I have not played this on the ladder yet. Again, as you can see in previous videos, I have played Temur Reclamation, and prior to me starting on YouTube, I did rank up quite a bit with Simic Flash, so I feel that this deck should be a pretty natural fit. Okay. So we're playing against Lil Dieter. I'll play first, please. Against the Urian deck, so that'll be interesting. This is pretty decent. I would have loved to have an early counter, but we're going to go ahead and play this and see what happens. Love your sleeves there, that's pretty cool. So Urian, are you going to be a Yorick deck? We'll find out. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on so I can crack it for red right away. There we go. That way I have the Bonecrusher open if I need to. Which might be necessary if he's a Lookout deck, trying to get little dudes on the field. We'll find out soon enough. Okay, we got Sacred Foundy out. Okay, that's pretty huge. Not going to shock him for no good reason. There's just really no point to. So right now, he probably still thinks that I'm in some kind of Temur Fires deck. Okay, so this is definitely the Lookout deck. So if I draw Mystical Dispute now, that would be pretty significant. So I feel like otherwise next turn... probably Teferi's going to come down. Which if he minuses it is actually not a big deal, because if he minuses I can kill it next turn. Okay, Teferi's not going to come out. That's pretty huge. I think I'm still going to Shark Typhoon here, just to get an extra card draw. That's really how you want to use Shark Typhoon. I mean, it's great to get some big sharks on the field, but being able to just cycle it early to get extra card draw, that's really what you want to use it for. Shark Typhoon for Shark Typhoon. Oh well. Another Bonecrusher, not necessarily what I want. Now, if he has a negate, that would be really unfortunate. What do I want to fetch here? I don't think it really matters. I'm just going to go ahead and grab a... I think I have more blue lands in my deck than green. So I might want to go ahead and grab a green. And I'm just going to go ahead and play this. And pray that he doesn't have to negate. He has something. Omen of the Sea. Okay, good. That's really good. So next turn I might not be able to Frilled Mystic yet, but I can play Nightpack Ambusher or a Shark for 2, which is still pretty good. Might as well go ahead and hit him. He can look at next turn, so that's pretty big, so I might still have a chance to get a blue mana out. If I draw blue next turn, I'll be in really good shape. Then I can probably stop his lookout. Okay, there's the Teferi. I might as well Nightpack Ambusher now. Or am I going to Shark Typhoon? I think I'm going to Shark Typhoon. That seems better. He's probably going to bounce my Reclamation, which is fine. So if he bounces my Reclamation, that means that I can kill him with the Shark. Okay. And a plus. Means I can't interact with it. That's kind of a bummer. Now, do I play the Nightpack Ambusher? Or a Shark? With a Shark, I can hit him for 3s down to 2. And then I can Bonecrusher on my end step. I think I'm going to do that, and then hope that I get something good here. So let's just go ahead and do this. Okay, another Wilderness Reclamation. That's actually pretty sweet. I'm going to do this. Okay, yeah, this is really good. Well, I'll only be able to do that on sorcery speed, so that's kind of a bummer. So I think I have to do this now. Let's go ahead and do this. Hit him. Okay. And I can swing you guys at him. Down to 0. Okay. Now I have Frilled Mystic open. That's pretty sweet. Go ahead and play Looka. Elspeth Conquers Death. I'm going to let that resolve, I think. Am I? So he's going to take the Wilderness Reclamation, but I don't really have a way to deal with it. I think I have to Frilled Mystic here. Yeah, let's go ahead and Frill. Yeah, yep. I think that's good. I think that's what I have to do. I kind of said that I won't have a counter for... Well, I've got 1, 2... I think I'm going to Keruga here. Get two card draws. Chance for a counter. It's not it. I'm going to play the land. And swing for 3. So if he plays Lukka next turn, I'm kind of out of luck, so that's kind of a bummer. So let's just hope that he's not going to try it. Shatter the Sky. Okay, I'm actually not upset about that. That's fine. That is totally fine. Okay, go Wolfie. And might as well do this. Okay. Got the Mystical Dispute, that's pretty sweet. I'll be able to counter Lukka. Now, do I play Wilderness Reclamation and not get a wolf? I think I still do. I think that makes sense. I can play Uro. But if I don't get a land, it's not worth it. So I think a Wilderness Reclamation first. Yeah, because if he does another Shatter the Sky, the other wolf is really not that great. I don't necessarily want to waste a counter on a Shatter the Sky. There we go. And let's go ahead and do some scrying. Oh. Let's not do that yet. There we go. Okay, let's scry. Resolve. Nope, nope. Don't need you guys. And then I think I'm going to scry one more. Because there's really no reason not to, because it's only costing me this. Then I keep 1, 2, 3, 4 mana open. Yeah, that seems good. Yeah, that seems good. I do want 1. I don't necessarily want more than that. I think 1 Brazen Borrower can be pretty good, actually, against this deck. Okay, your turn. Alright, is he going to play Lukka? That'd be silly, too, because he doesn't really have anything to do Lukka things with. So he's probably not. Curious what he is going to do here. Now, if he shatters, do I stop it, or do I just let it go? I think that's a good question. Teferi. That I'm not cool with. Now, he might have a counter as well. Nope. Sweet. I might just stomp him again. Yeah, I think another stomp is worth it. Get him down to 10. Really, this game, I just want to pressure him. I don't want this game to take too long before he has too many options. I don't want him being able to do things. There we go. So what do I do here? That's Uro. I know I could be getting wolves with the Nightpack Ambusher, but I'm just looking for other things. I need to be able to make sure that he cannot get a game going. Okay, another Nightpack Ambusher is actually not bad. Might as well get you out. You gonna do something about my Bonecrusher? You got an Essence Scatter or something? Okay. I think this is a great test for this deck. Going up against a Jeskai control deck with Urion. So I feel like this is the deck that I kind of struggle with Temur Reclamation. So being able to test it against it right away is actually pretty good. Alright, let's go in and scry. Yes, please. I'll keep both. Again, Mystical Dispute is not as good at this point, but it's still good. Like, the more mana he has, the less good Mystical Dispute is, but it just still seems worth it. I have enough cards in the bin for Uro in case he wipes my board again. Okay. That's sweet, because then I actually draw the Frilled Mystic. So... I don't have enough for both of these guys. I'm probably just going to play Nightpack Ambusher again. That might be all I play. Okay, sweet. Okay, sideboard. I do think I want more counters against this guy. So, let's see. I don't think the Bonecrushers are particularly good. Do want the Shifting Ceratops. Do I want more counters? I don't necessarily need this because he won't be playing creatures. He, she, they. Let's see. Do I want more counter? Do I want another Uro? Is ramping good here? I don't think I necessarily need to win the ramp over here. Ionize could be good. I think Ionize would be pretty good. I'm going to be on a draw here, so it's going to lose some of its effect. Might play two of these, lose one of these. That's good for tempo, and I'm able to remove stuff. Like, if I can't interact with Teferi, I can at least bounce it on my turn and then keep a counter open on the way back. Let's try this. So far, I'm enjoying this deck. It's pretty good. Okay. Oof. Well, I have a turn 3 counter. I have a Shark Typhoon. I'm going to keep. It's not great, but that's potential. As long as he doesn't Teferi on curve, then I can at least bounce it. So that's good. Okay, cool. I feel good about that. So let's Stomping Ground here. This hand has potential. Again, I'm not super optimistic about it, but it's not. I'm not gonna cycle this away. This seems, or mulligan this away. This seems like I can work with. Frilled Mystic. Okay, my hand keeps getting better, so as long as I can keep Teferi off the board, we're in good shape. I'll go ahead and do this because I won't be able to interact with him anyway if he plays Teferi right now. If he plays Teferi right now, which he knows he can because I don't have blue open, I'm gonna have to interact with it on my turn, which is not as great. Yep, there he is. That's unfortunate.
No, thank you. This might be a bad idea.
Okay, so now, no matter what I do, he's going to resolve Teferi again. So I can do this and look like I'm keeping the Mystical Dispute open. Now he's probably going to Teferi again. If I was in issues, I would just play into the counter. Because basically, anticipating a counter and playing around the counter is the best way to give your opponent a counter. If that makes sense. Sweet. Oh my goodness. That is so good. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get you in. Probably track it for a blue. This is really good. Because this means that he's trying to play around the counter, which I did not have. So keeping blue open actually gave me a free counter. So one thing that I learned, this is a good tip for anybody. One thing I learned is don't play around the counter. You can, again, is it a good idea to necessarily play into the counter if you know it's there? Sure, it's probably not. You probably want to play a card that's not as good, but still counterable. So let's say a less desired card for you, but you know that your opponent's still going to see it as a threat. They can waste their counter on that, and then you can follow up with a better card. But if you're not sure if your opponent has a counter, just play your card. You got to trust on being able to continue on, be able to build more of a game. So let's say I have a Teferi on the board, it gets countered. Maybe later on I can bring it back with an Elspeth. But by him not wanting to play into the counter, he is basically paralyzing himself right now. Now, I'm not saying the game is over. By far, it is not. It is definitely not over. But he's definitely making this a lot easier on me right now. So next turn, I might just Brazen Borrower just to start putting some pressure on. At the end of his turn here, depending on what he does. Okay. So he's still afraid of Teferi. Yeah, you should have shocked that in, probably. So let's go ahead and get you down. And let's swing. I would love a Wilderness Reclamation now, I'm not going to lie. Oh, that's the cycle. It throws me off that this is highlighted. Okay, another wall. So you got your targets for Lukka. Now, are you going to play Lukka? He probably has a Dovin's Veto, which is fine. So he's going to Teferi. I'm going to go ahead and Mystical Dispute. And he's going to Dovin's Veto. If he Dovin's Veto, I'm going to play another counter. Oh, he's going to do that. That works too. Now, do I Ionize or Frilled Mystic? Frilled Mystic will just go straight into these guys, so I think I'm going to Ionize instead. And just deal 2 damage there. Okay. Let's get you down. Now the problem is if he plays Teferi again and he has a counter, he's going to get Teferi down. But then at least I'll be able to get a big shark. Well, no, not really. Yeah, let's just hope that he doesn't have a counter. Now Dovin's Veto doesn't stop Frilled Mystic, so that's pretty good. Right now it's still very much everybody's game. It's 20 to 16. He has quite a bit of mana. I'm down to 1 counter. Now if he doesn't do anything here, I'm just going to Shark Typhoon for 4. There we go. I'm curious if he has removal for that. I tend to Shark Typhoon into a Shark Typhoon every time. So if he doesn't have a Brazen Borrower or something, this is pretty solid. I feel pretty good about this. Now he has something here. Either that or he's just thinking about making a 1/1 counter, which is not going to do anything for him. I'm going to be able to hit him for 7 in the sky, which is pretty solid. Awesome. Okay. Definitely not out of the woods yet. I want more untapped lands, just in case I need to pay for a Mystical Dispute. Swing for 7. No response. Sweet. Okay. Keeping all my mana open. Whoa. So I'm guessing he uses the alternate art, which turns into Fabled. Let's draw some cards. We definitely have him under pressure. If he doesn't interact with this, if he doesn't remove these threats, I'm going to be able to finish him off next turn with another Shark. Now, I would imagine that he cycled into a Shattered Sky, so he got 3 mana left. Now, if I play this, or I can just get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get a 5/5 Shark. That seems pretty good too. And I still put him on the clock, and I have my counter open. I think I like that. Yeah, and I also have my Shifting Ceratops here. That's pretty sweet. So I'll be able to finish him off next turn if he doesn't put anything on the board. And he probably felt that coming. So really, really strong display here of Temur Flash. I'll go back to the deck here and recap it real quick, just to go over what happened. I didn't actually get the Expansion Explosion here. This was really more of a Temur Flash showdown, even though in the first game, Wilderness Reclamation made a big difference, which the original Temur Flash is not a card. So again, Brazen Borrower, great for pressure, great to get rid of a Teferi if it's on the board. You saw it working really well in game 2 there. I was able to bounce it back to his hand, keep a blue mana open, and have him be too afraid of the Mystical Dispute to be able to play Teferi. So that bought me all the time I needed to actually get the counters. Uro is just solid for ramp if I need it. I was able to bring it back in that first game if I wanted to. I just didn't need to. But otherwise, I would have had a 6/6 on the board. Pretty solid. Bonecrusher Giant speaks for itself. Nightpack Ambusher brought the heat. Frilled Mystic, just such a good card. Such a good card. If I have the mana open and my opponent is not able to resolve his Teferi, this in combination with like a Mystical Dispute or my Ionize just worked so well. Again, this is one of those decks that it just has multiple tools. I really like the way this works. I like this a lot better than Temur Reclamation, simply because it has those tools. It has those ways to interact early with multiple different decks. Having Wilderness Reclamation and Expansion Explosion, and if the game tends to grind on and get long, to finish the game off is really sweet. I'm really a big fan of that. Yeah, this deck works really, really well. I'm a big fan. Credit goes to Klothys. He made the first Temur Flash. I made some tweaks in the sideboard, but the main board is all him, as far as I'm aware. But yeah, great deck. I love it a lot. Keruga, again, with Wilderness Reclamation down, being able to just cast it, get multiple cards out of it, get those counters. This deck is going to be ahead of a lot of control decks. My tip playing against this, don't wait for the counters. Just play. Play your cards. Eventually, against any flash deck, what I have found to beat them is you got to keep playing into the counters, and eventually they're going to run out of counters. But my opponent just played around them too much and gave me all the time in the world. So, yeah, love this deck. I'll probably be playing it a little bit more. If you liked the video, please leave a like, subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. I've recently started, and any kind of support you can give me really goes a long way. I appreciate it a lot. I'm really enjoying this, and yeah, you'll see more from me. Thank you so much.